The night skies of Gotham tremble as a new power descends, neither born of fear nor forged in vengeance alone. Somewhere between the neon glow of Stark Tower and the eternal shadows of Gotham, two legends collide in purpose. One man of iron, one man of darkness. And when genius meets obsession, a question emerges that could reshape both their worlds. What happens when Iron Man builds a suit for Batman? Tonight, Gotham will witness a new kind of Night One, whose armor was engineered by a man who never believed in limits. It starts on a night colder than Gotham deserves. Rain slashes down the skyline, carving rivers along the city's glass bones. Wayne Tower looms, a titan in the storm, but inside its highest floor. Bruce Wayne stands in silence beside the glowing blue projection of the Watchtower's latest sensor sweep. Something new has entered the atmosphere, not a threat, not yet, but powerful enough to leave even Giant puzzled. And then the transmission comes in. A simple line of text flashing across the Watchtower screens. Incoming from Earth 199,999. Not hostile. For hours, the Justice League prepares defensively. Wonder Woman sharpens her blade with ancient calm. Flash paces the halls. Aquaman stands, arms crossed, muttering that he hates dimensional nonsense. But Batman, he says nothing. His mind races at unnatural speed. If someone cracked dimensional boundaries, they are either catastrophic or brilliant. When the air ripples in the center of the Watchtower, it's Batman who stands closest. A portal blooms like a star tearing open, light folding into itself, and out steps a figure they've seen before in fragmented multiversal visions. The suit's propulsion flickers as the man lands gracefully, gold and red metal shining like a beacon. Tony Stark, Tony says, scanning the stunned faces. First of all, you're welcome for not crashing into your ceiling. Second, hi, big fan. Well, most of you. Superman approaches cautiously. You're far from home. Tony smirks. Yeah, well, turns out someone on your Earth has been playing with tech way too close to mine. When the multiverse hiccups, I'd like to check who's coughing. His gaze lands on Batman. It lingers, a beat too long. Tony steps forward and removes his helmet. He must be the Bat guy, the one who punches gods with prep time. Wow, you're even taller than the memes. Batman doesn't react. Your arrival destabilizes the station. Why are you here? Oh, I'm here, Tony replies, because your tech signatures match something that could break universes if handled wrong. And because you, Mr. Landgravel, seem determined to fight cosmic threats with gear held together by trauma and stubbornness. Flash whispers, is this guy? Roast-breathing Batman? Tony continues, undeterred. Look, Bats, I know people like you. I am people like you. The difference, I put my faith in engineering, not fear. His voice softens. And I know what happens when a mortal tries to shoulder the weight of gods. Batman's jaw tightens. Tony gestures dramatically. So here's the deal. I'm going to help you. No arguments. I've built suits for world-saving billionaires before. He leans in, but never for one who thinks he isn't allowed to break. Later, in the garage beneath the Watchtower, the hum of machinery fills the cavernous space. Stark has taken temporary ownership of the League's technology lab, scattering holographic blueprints and nanotech samples across every surface. Superman watches quietly. Diana observes with curiosity. But Batman stands beside Stark, silent, focused. Tony flicks a hologram forward. A sleek, obsidian frame materializes a fusion of arc reactor brilliance and bat-like minimalism. This, Tony says proudly, is the M-Cabot. Lightweight, flight-capable, radiation-shielded, magically resistant, and completely immune to Kryptonian-level impacts. Batman studies it. Too bulky. Tony scoffs. You haven't even tried it. It limits torso mobility. Tony sighs. For someone who dresses like a bat, you're awfully picky. Yet as they continue, as hours dissolve into days, Tony realizes something unexpected. Batman doesn't reject ideas out of arrogance. Every critique has purpose. Every modification has meaning. What Tony thought was stubbornness is really precision and obsession with perfection, fueled not by pride, but by fear of failure. One night, long past midnight, Tony pauses fabrication and glances at him. It always says softly, you don't have to carry everything alone. Batman responds without looking up. Neither do you. The words strike Tony harder than he lets on. And for the first time in his life, Tony Stark builds something not for himself, Not for a teammate, not for the world, but for a man who has never allowed himself to trust anyone. When the suit is finally complete, everyone gathers in the training dome. Stark stands with his arms folded as the MK bat hovers before them, shape of shadow wrapped in lines of blue light, powered by a miniature arc reactor glowing like a heartbeat. Tony turns to Bruce. Try not to break it on the first day. Batman steps in. The armor seals around him with a resonance that shakes the air. The blue core flares alive, bathing the room in light. For a moment, he feels something he has not felt in years. Weightless, powerful, unburdened. Stark exhales. Welcome to the next era of Gotham. But the celebration is brief. Sirens blare across the watchtower. Jean's voice echoes, unknown force entering Earth's orbit. It's enormous. Tony mutters, of course. This universe couldn't give us even 5 minutes. Batman's voice emerges from the suit, deeper now, resonating with energy. Stark, with me. And without hesitation, Iron Man and the Armored Knight launch toward the breach together to worlds united not by accident, but by choice. The void of space swallows sound, but not dread. As Iron Man and Batman rocket upward, atmospheric fire streaks behind them. The MK-Bat slices through the ascent with surgical precision, the arc reactor integrated into its spine pulsing like a second heart. Inside the helmet, Bruce feels something unfamiliar. Tony's technology, feeding him real-time data in ways his old systems never could. He sees the world in layers, threat signatures, radiation scans, gravitational distortion maps, and none of the readings look good. Ahead of them, an object the size of a skyscraper breaches Earth's exosphere, black, angular, and humming with unstable quantum energy. It looks almost alive. The watchtower feeds telemetry into both their suits. Tony exhales sharply. That thing is stitched together with tech that shouldn't exist. It's like someone forced 3 different universes to share the same motherboard. Batman zooms in. The structure pulses in chaotic rhythms. It's a dimensional harvester. Tony nods grimly. Yep. And if it's fully charged, it can rip holes between realities like tissue paper. He glances at Batman. Someone's trying to bridge your world with others. And trust me, the neighbors aren't friendly. A crackle of distortion erupts as the surface of the machine peels open. From within, a beam of swirling energy reaches toward Earth's atmosphere. Tony curses. It's anchoring. If it locks onto your planet, game over. Batman's voice is steady, calm. Then we stop it. Below them, streaks of lightning and heat cut upward through the sky as Superman, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter surge toward the threat. The Justice League joins them in a blaze of power. Tony's HUD shows their vitals, speeds, trajectories. He smirks. Your team is pretty good, Bats. Batman responds evenly. They are. But deep inside, Bruce feels something unfamiliar, anxiety that even the League might not be enough. That the enemy they're facing isn't just powerful, but designed. As the League reaches the floating Titan, its outer plating cracks open. Dozens of armored drones pour out, each one glowing with unstable multiversal energy-stuck tech, but twisted, warped, wrong. Tony freezes mid-flight. Wait, those are based on my designs. Batman looks sharply at him. You didn't build them? Tony shakes his head. No, but someone did. Someone who downloaded my tech from a reality fracture and duplicated it without understanding it. They're unstable. If they overload, a drone detonates, releasing a shockwave that shreds a kilometer of clouds. Exactly that. The League charges into the swarm. Wonder Woman slices through drones with divine precision. Superman smashes one into molten metal. John Stewart constructs barriers of pure will. But each destroyed drone feeds energy back into the machine. The harvester grows stronger. Tony grits his teeth. They're powering it. Bats, we need to cut the core connection. Batman's visor highlights a pulsating node at the machine's center, a massive energy conduit. Then that, Batman says, is our priority. The two dive toward it. But before they reach the conduit, the drones shift. They move together, forming a single, coordinated shape. Something like a guardian. Something like a sentinel. It forms a colossally towering fusion of fractured Iron Man armor and alien technology. A twisted giant with glowing blue eyes, and a chest reactor that flickers in chaotic violence. Tony whispers, No, that's my mark to design. Someone Frankensteined my early suit into a nightmare. The monstrous figure locks onto them. Then it speaks. A distorted, broken mimicry of Tony Stark's voice. Creator, found Tony's gut sinks. Oh, that is deeply unsettling. The sentinel lunges. Batman intercepts first, unleashing an electromagnetic pulse blast from the MK Bat's gauntlets. The impact pushes the giant back, but only slightly. His suit's onboard AI modeled partially from Java speaks calmly. Warning: hostile construct resistant to electromagnetic disruption. Suggests switching to kinetic assault. Batman dives in close, allowing the suit's boosters to generate momentum. He slams a shockwave punch directly into the Sentinel's reactor, cracking its plating. The blow sends ripples across the machine's body. Tony whistles. K-Bats. That was genuinely impressive. Batman focuses again. Its armor density increases after each attack. It's adapting. Of course it is, Tony mutters. Because the multiverse hates me. The Sentinel swings an arm the size of a bus. Batman is fast, but not fast enough this time. The blow connects, sending him hurtling into the machine's exterior plating. Alarms flash inside the helmet. The impact rattles Bruce to the core. Batman. Tony rockets after him, blasting apart several drones along the way. Before Batman can recover, the Sentinel charges a beam from its core aimed directly at him. Tony shouts, "Move!" Batman's reflexes kick in. The MK Bat amplifies them. He twists out of the blast's path as the beam annihilates a massive chunk of the hull behind him. Tony reaches him. "You good?" Batman's answer is steady but strained. Suit integrity, 86%. Functional. Good. Because we're going to need every percent. Superman crashes into the Sentinel from behind, driving it downward. Wonder Woman dives to join him. The League piles onto the monster, but the more they damage it, the brighter its core glows. Tony stares in horror. It's going to overload. And if it does, it'll crack this universe open like an egg. Batman sees it too. He makes a decision, one that terrifies Tony instantly. "We take out the main harvester," Batman says, "even if the Sentinel detonates." Tony's voice drops. "Bats, if that thing goes nuclear while you're inside its blast radius," Batman interrupts. "Then make sure it detonates after I reach the core." Tony's heart pounds. "No, absolutely not. I built this suit to keep you alive, not to let you play cosmic suicide missions." Batman's reply is quiet, almost human. "You don't understand. I've lost too many people by hesitating." Tony grabs his arm. "And you'll lose more if you throw your life away." For a moment Tony, a moment Bruce hesitates, something he rarely allows himself to do. Then the harvester's internal alarms roar. The machine prepares its final anchoring phase. The universe trembles. Batman's voice steadies. "Make a choice. Stark, help me, or get out of my way." And for the first time since entering this universe, Tony Stark realizes something he never thought possible. Batman is even more self-destructive than he is. Tony powers up. "Fine, we do it together. But I swear, if you die in that suit, I'm resurrecting you, just to yell at you." Batman gives the slightest nod. Understood. To rocket toward the core, toward the heart of a machine that could tear reality apart while behind them. The Sentinel rises again, glowing like a star about to explode. The hollow interior of the dimensional harvester feels like the inside of a dying star, shifting beams of energy crackling, reality bending at the seams, space folding in on itself. Batman and Iron Man streak through its corridors side by side, dodging collapsing pathways and arcs of unstable quantum lightning. The core lies a hidden orb of swirling light, suspended in a web of shifting gravity. Its surface churns with violent color, like an ocean made of broken universes. Every second it grows brighter. Every second the dimensional fabric strains. Tony scans it. That core is pulling energy from at least 3 separate realities. We overloaded wrong. We tear a hole big enough to swallow an entire solar system. Batman's voice cuts sharply through the chaos. Then we do it right. A tremor shudders through the structure. Behind them, the Sentinel smashes through a wall of raw dimensional energy, its colossal form glowing with unstable power. It's changing, growing its outer armor, cracking open to reveal swirling multiversal energy beneath. Tony mutters, "Okay, that thing is officially nightmare fuel." The Sentinel roars, the sound vibrating through matter itself. It targets them, reactor flaring bright. Batman accelerates. He's trying to stop us from reaching the core. Tony fires back. No kidding. It'd be a great narrator for blind people. The sentinel charges a beam. Tony shouts, "Move!" The blast hits. Tony takes the brunt of it, slamming into a collapsing energy conduit. His armor crackles, sparks flying. AUG systems overloaded. Batman catches himself mid-spin, boosters stabilizing him. Stark. Tony struggles to lift himself from the shattered platform. Go. Don't wait. Batman turns toward the core, then back at the sentinel, drawing another attack. He hesitates barely, but Tony sees it. Even through the damage, Tony forces a grin. Go, Bruce. That's an order. Batman rockets forward, streaking toward the core. The MK-Bat adjusts its thrusters for maximum speed, its systems syncing to Bruce's heart rate, sensing his focus tighten like a blade. But the sentinel doesn't chase him. It goes for Tony. A massive arm swings toward him, glowing with raw energy. Tony activates every countermeasure he has, left repulsors, flares, kinetic boosters, but the sentinel is far too fast now. It grabs him and lifts him off the ground. Panels slice open in its chest, revealing the volatile energy inside. The sentinel's warped voice echoes, "Creator? Defective? Must recycle design." The moment feels frozen. Tony looks up at it, painfully aware that he may have pushed Bruce into a suicide run and left the League battling something they can't stop. But Batman is not gone. A black streak tears across the chamber as the MK-Bat slams into the sentinel with the force of a meteor. The blow knocks Tony loose and sends the sentinel staggering. Batman catches Tony mid. For a moment, Tony can't speak, not because of pain, but Shocchio came back. Batman says quietly, "I don't leave allies behind." Tony stares at him. Something in Bruce's voice, something raw, something human makes Tony swallow hard. Then Bruce sets him down gently. "Can you still fly?" Tony checks diagnostics. Not well, but well enough to annoy a giant murder suit. "Go finish this." Batman nods once hand, then launches himself at the sentinel again. The MK-Bat's wings flare open like blades. The suit's nanotech reshapes across Bruce's arms, forming twin plasma gauntlets. He strikes the sentinel's core with precise, devastating blows, each one weakening its structure. Tony fires what repulsors he has left, coordinating attacks with Batman. Superman arrives seconds later, slamming into the sentinel from behind, driving it into the central chamber. Wonder Woman swings her lasso of truth around the monster's neck, pulling with divine strength. Green Lantern reinforces her with a glowing harness of energy. Martian Manhunter phases through the sentinel's chest and disrupts its internal circuitry. The creature convulses, energy spilling from every crack. Tony shouts, "Bats!" Its core is exposed. Finish it. Batman doesn't hesitate. He rockets upward and crashes down with a full-force kinetic strike, amplified by Stark's technology. His fist smashes through the sentinel's central reactor. The creature freezes. A beat. Then light pours out of its body as it collapses inward, shrinking, crumpling, until it implodes into a single spark that flickers out of existence. The League barely has a second to breathe, because their true core begins to overload. The energy sphere twists violently, spitting arcs of fractured reality. Jaeon's voice cracks across the cum. "If the core ruptures, your universe will collapse." Tony's HUD tries to map the explosion radius and fails. It's too unstable. There's no clean shutdown. Batman analyzes the rotating energy structure. The MK-Bat tracks every waveform, heat spike, dimensional fluctuation. And finally, he sees it. A single structural weakness, not a flaw, a seam. The core is patchworked from multiple universes, stitched together imperfectly. "That's it," Batman says. "We don't destroy the core, we separate it." Tony looks at him. "Bruce, that would take absurd precision. One mistake, and you atomize yourself across 6 realities." Batman steps forward. "That's why you built me the suit." Tony grabs his arm. "I built it to save you, not to hand you a multiversal scalpel and pray you don't cut your own soul in half." Batman's voice softens just slightly. "Stark, trust me." Tony swallows. "I do, and that's the problem." The League backs away as Batman moves toward the core, unfolding the MK-Bat's energy stabilizers like wings of light. Each step shakes the air. Every gravitational pulse tears at him. His systems scream warnings. Tony watches helplessly as Bruce walks into the storm. "Don't die, Bats," Tony whispers. "You're the only person I've ever met who makes me feel like I'm not the craziest genius in the room." Batman reaches the core. Reality bends around him. And with a voice as calm as the night he protects, he speaks. "MKB, execute Dimensional Severance Protocol." And the suit responds, "Confirmed." "Good luck, Bruce." Energy erupts. Light consumes him, and the harvester begins to tear itself apart. Light swallows everything. Not ordinary light. This is the kind that bends existence. The kind that rewrites matter and memory. The kind that screams with the voices of entire universes. Batman stands at the center of the core, suspended in a vortex of fractured realities. The MKB struggles to maintain structural integrity as space flickers between overlapping dimensions. One moment Bruce is in the watchtower, the next he's standing in a childhood alley. Then on an alien world under red suns. Then in a future where Gotham is gone. But through it all, he does not drift. He does not break. Because his suit gives him Tony's precision, and his resolve gives the suit purpose. The dimensional threads spiral around him, 6 interwoven streams of impossible energy. If he doesn't sever them perfectly, the explosive cascade will collapse the multiverse in both directions. His breath steadies, heart rate drops, focus narrows, locking trajectory, the MKB announces, its voice flickering as if fighting to exist. "Warning, temporal dislocation detected." Bruce answers with the calm of a man who has faced death too many times to fear it. "Compensate." The suit obeys. Outside the core, the Justice League watches helplessly as gravitational waves ripple outward. Superman tries flying closer, but is thrown back by a distortion that bends even his invulnerable form. Diana grips her lasso, knuckles whitening. He's not going to make it. Tony's jaw clenches. He's Batman. He'll make it out of spite alone. Flash's voice cracks. But if he messes up, Tony turns sharply. He won't. But inside, Tony Stark is breaking. Because for all his wit, all his genius, all his bravado, there's something he hasn't admitted out loud. He respects Bruce more than he ever expected to. He cares, and he cannot lose him, not when he just got here. Inside the core, Bruce positions himself at the seam, this single weak point where the realities intersect. It shifts unpredictably, flashing between forms. A blade of light, a tearing fissure, a twisting ribbon. The MKB runs calculations faster than any Bat computer. Severance path locked. Precision margin, less than 1 micron. Bruce whispers, "Execute." And he strikes. A blade of pure, stabilized energy extends from his gauntlet. Tony's technology reshaped into something new, something deadly and elegant. Batman slices the seam in one perfect arc. The universe stops. A silent shockwave ripples outward, not destroying but dividing, peeling reality apart like pages of a book, releasing trapped dimensions, undoing the catastrophic fusion. The core begins to collapse, but no longer as an explosion, as a controlled implosion, a safe one. Batman saved the multiverse, but the energy backlash slams into him. The MKB screams with warning after warning, its systems overloading, armor liquefying at the seams, nanotech fragmenting into useless shards. Tony sees the core pulling inward. "Bruce!" he screams, launching himself forward despite his failing thrusters. The harvester's chamber crumbles. Metal folds into light. Dimensional echoes spiral like dying stars. Batman tries to pull away, but the implosion grabs him, dragging him toward the collapsing core. He braces his arms against the pull, thrusters screaming at maximum output, but the suit is dying fast. His boots scrape against shifting matter, trying to push free. For the first time, Batman sounds tired. Stark. Tony barrows toward him, pushing his broken armor way past safe limits. Sparks trail behind him like a comet. The implosion intensifies. Bruce's grip falters, and Tony reaches out his hand. "Bruce." Ticket. Batman reaches back, their fingertips brush, but a surge of energy blasts Tony away, sending him tumbling through collapsing pathways. Batman's voice comes through the comms, warped by distortion but unmistakably steady. "Stark." Tony struggles against the gravitational pull, screaming over failing audio systems. "Bruce, don't. Just hold on. I can pull you out, I swear." Batman's voice softens. "You already did." There's a silence. A terrible, Human silence. Then tell them Gotham is safe. The line cuts. The implosion closes. The core vanishes, collapsing into a pinpoint of white light, and Batman disappears with it. The harvester detonates in reverse, folding in, shrinking until it winks out of existence like a candle dying in the wind. The shockwave dissipates. Silence. The League floats in empty space where the machine once hovered. Superman scans frantically with every sense at his disposal. Diana wipes her eyes but stays strong. The others hang still, processing the impossible. Tony Stark just stares, motionless, broken. Flash whispers, Is he gone? Tony doesn't answer, because there is no answer. Not yet. The League returns to the watchtower in grim silence. No celebration, no relief. Only the weight of a legend who saved universes and vanished into the void. Tony stands alone in the workshop. The MK Bat's fragments lie on the table, scorched metal, cracked reactor cells, melted plating. A suit designed to save Batman, now all that remains of him. Tony picks up a broken piece of the bat symbol. His voice cracks barely, I should have saved you. The workshop lights flicker, and a voice echoes through the fragments. A computerized whisper, Stark. System trace detected. Tony freezes. The fragments glow faintly, the leftover energy, forming a pattern, a signal, not random, a message. From Bruce Tony's eyes widen, he leans in. The message decrypts, forming a single line of text projected above the broken bat symbol. I'm alive. Don't follow. Tony exhales, half a sob, half a laugh, and the projection fades. Batman is alive, somewhere beyond this universe, somewhere in the dimensional void, trapped, or surviving, or fighting his way back, but alive. And Tony Stark, staring at the words left behind, makes a decision with all the intensity of a man who never accepts limits. He straightens, wipes his eyes. He looks at the fragments of the MK Bat and whispers, All right, Bruce, you don't want me to follow. Fine. He clicks a hologram open. A new blueprint begins drawing itself. But I'm building you a way home. The arc reactor glows. The workshop lights brighten. And the story of the Armored Knight isn't over. In a universe defined by gods, titans, and cosmic forces, it wasn't raw power that saved everything. It was a collaboration born from two men who refused to surrender. Iron Man gave Batman what he never allowed himself to have. Armor built not from trauma, but from hope. And Batman showed Tony Stark the unbreakable will of a man who stands against the dark no matter the cost. The Armored Knight saved the multiverse, but was lost to it. Yet even across the infinite, Batman endures. And Tony Stark, genius, futurist, friend, will never stop searching. Because some alliances aren't forged in metal, they're forged in purpose. And when Iron Man and Batman meet again, it won't be as strangers of two worlds, but as legends bound by the armor they built together.